Hey, everybody. Welcome to Be Patient, Be Present, Be Joyful, a first aid kit for the emotional bumps, scrapes, and bruises of life. My name is Ryan Stanley. I am a professional life coach, certified life and leadership coach, living in Annandale, New Jersey. Super blessed to be here today with all of you. Thank you so much to Leah and Amy for having me. I was blessed to be here last year for the in-person, and I'm now blessed to be here this year for the online version of Inclusion Festival. Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here. So today's workshop, Be Patient, Be Present, Be Joyful, is actually based on a book that I wrote of the same name. So you can see one in the background there, but I always keep one on me as well. It's Be Patient, Be Present, Be Joyful, a first aid kit for the emotional bumps, scrapes, and bruises of life. As you can see, it's something small you can carry with you, and it was made to be just that, a first aid kit. If you're having a tough day, you're having some tough moments, you're feeling stressed, you're feeling overwhelmed. I don't know why anybody would be feeling that way in 2020, but it might happen. If that's the case, the concepts that we're about to go over and this book, if you decide that it's something that could serve you, might help you in those moments. So the book is made up of 5 chapters. Actually, the first, it opens with a prologue. So there's a prologue, there's 3 chapters, and then there's a epilogue. And so the prologue is called You Are a Creator. And it is reminding you that that you are a creator, that you are always and in always creating something. Right now, I am creating a man who is putting on a presentation. You are creating a human being who is listening to this presentation. When we wake up in the morning, we create a human who is getting up. If you decide at that point to put on some blue socks, blue pants, blue shirt, and blue hat, you are creating a human dressed in blue. When we go to the kitchen and if you decide to put, some peanut butter on one side of some bread and some jelly on another, and you put them together, you are literally creating a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I know that sounds obvious, but follow me here. When we create laughter, we create conversation, we create art, we create music, we're always creating. Even if you're sleeping, you are actually creating a person who is sleeping, right? So just by being, we are always, and again, always creating. Even since the moment you were conceived, you were creating a fetus, but we're always creating something. So by knowing that, it's important to be aware that we also sometimes, in stressful moments, create stress, and we create anger, and we create frustration, we create sadness, we create overwhelm. We also create joy and laughter and happiness, and we're always creating something just by creating our thoughts. So the prologue touches on this because it's important for you to understand that we're always creating something. Now that we know that, we can go into chapter 1, which is Be Patient. So if you are feeling stress, if you're feeling overwhelmed, chances are that time or not enough of it has something to do with that, right? We wish we were further along in something. I'm late for something and I'm sitting in traffic. I wish that sometimes you just want to feel better right now about something else altogether. We're kind of want something to be different immediately, especially in today's day and age of immediacy, like with social media, with phones, with everything. You can get all the information that you need. We expect that all the time. And so impatience has been a popular way of being, unfortunately. So there comes an opportunity for you to ask yourself, how can I, if you're feeling stressed, you're feeling overwhelmed, you're feeling impatient, you're able to recognize that I'm impatient right now. How can I create patience? How does a patient person behave? How would a patient person sit in this exact same scenario? Think about it for a moment, because our brain is a machine, and the machine likes to answer questions, this machine in particular. So if you ask yourself questions like, how am I behaving right now? Am I behaving impatient? And if the answer is yes, you can follow yourself up with another question, which is, how would a patient person behave? If I were to create a patient person in this moment, what would that look like? What would that feel like? How can I create patience in the now? And so think about that for a moment. How does close your eyes and think about what does patience feel like for you? If you imagine someone who's being patient, how are they behaving? Great. The other thing I want to point out quickly is that patience is not necessarily sitting around and doing nothing and just waiting for something to happen. Patience is behaving as if you are grateful for the outcome to occur as it's supposed to. Patience is creating gratitude for that outcome. Patience is believing and having faith in the outcome, and then behaving in the most efficient manner to make it possible, but not being stressed and not being overwhelmed and not creating somebody who is worried about it not happening. Instead, you are creating someone who is confident in the outcome that you desire and taking action to make that outcome part of your life and your experience. So once you have created a person who is patient, right, you understand that is an option. You don't have to spend the next 40 years being patient, but right now, be patient right now, just for the moment. If I'm feeling impatient, I can create someone who's patient. So that's chapter 1. Chapter 2 is be present. So now that you've created a person who is no longer waiting on something, you can also create a person who's not worried about the past either, right? You're not worried about the future. You're not worried about the past. Typically, a lot of the time when people are stressed, they're worried about what someone somewhere else thinks. They're worried about something they did yesterday or something they said last week or something that, some event that happened years ago, traumatic as it may be. If you're sitting there focused on that, you are actually literally putting your energy into the past, and it's not serving your present. So again, you can ask yourself, if I wanted to, if I'm stressed about the past or I'm stressed about what might happen in the future or the way something might go, you have the opportunity to create presence. And you can, again, ask yourself important questions like, how does a present person behave? What would it be like if I created a presence right now? What does the word present even mean? And a great way to kind of step into this is to utilize your senses, all 5 of them, and maybe even your 6th, right? So what can I smell right now? What can I hear right now? What am I seeing in front of me? Look around, take it all in. Can I feel the air against my face? Be here now. There really is only now. I know it doesn't feel that way. We've kind of been programmed to think about the past and think about the future. Our past is really just a lot of previous nows. And our future is basically, who knows what the future is going to hold. And so any stress or fear that we put into it is really just us being worried about a now that doesn't yet exist. And depending on your feelings on quantum physics or your understanding of it, and I'm in a layman's version myself, but the more you focus on what you don't want, the more you are likely to bring that into reality, as opposed to spending the now creating joy, creating presence, creating person who is present in the moment and grateful for the now. Gratitude is a tremendous way to create presence and to be here now. You can be grateful for anything. Gratitude is literally the opposite of stress. If at any point you are grateful for something, you are in a feeling of receiving. And when you are receiving, stress often comes from lack, right? It's some sort of lack. I don't have it now. I don't have enough money now. I don't have enough health now. I don't have all these different things. Whatever it is, I don't have it now. As opposed to gratitude, if you're coming from a place of receiving and understanding and abundance. And when you cultivate that attitude and you cultivate that way of being by practice, right? By no means, listen, we've all had some traumatic experiences in life. And many of us, some more than others. And so by no means am I belittling your past or belittling your experience or belittling your physical condition or belittling your stress that you have. It makes perfect sense. And anybody who had led every single second of your life up until this moment would be feeling that exact same way. So it's okay that you feel that way. I'm just sharing that you don't have to feel that way for the rest of your life. Your past doesn't equal your future unless you want it to, unless you think about that all the time. So be present. Create a person who is here now and grateful for the now. Recognize that there's oxygen right now. There's gravity right now. There's sunlight right now so that you can exist and be here now. Who do you want to be? How do you want to show up? So now you've created patience. You've created presence. And so, and literally, if you take this step by step, this with practice can be done in a process of becoming a habit. Like, what are my steps here? I'm feeling stressed. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Am I worried about the future? Am I worried about the past? Can I create some patience? What does a patient person feel like? Okay, now I feel like I'm creating some patience. Now what's step 2 is create some presence. Be here now. Look around. Realize that life is a gift. It is actually, it's an incredible miracle that you're even here. And I don't just mean that in the amount of what it actually takes in the science and the process of creating a baby inside a woman's womb. I just mean even the fact that your parents met based on their parents meeting and their parents meeting their parents. The odds are like 1 trillion to 1 that you exist, right? In the grand scheme of things, there's something like that. So recognize that now is a miracle. Now is a gift. Be here now. Create gratitude for that miracle and that gift and decide who you want to be in that moment, in this moment. And create someone. Be the light that you want to see in the world for yourself and for others. Create a person who is present and realizing the amazingness and the absolute miracle that consciousness in this life actually is. And now that you've done that and you're feeling that, I hope, in some capacity, then you move on to chapter 3, which is create joy, right? Be patient, be present, be joyful. Chapter 3, create some joy. You can create, I mean, now that you're here, now you're not waiting on anything anymore. So you're present and you're patient. How would you rather be feeling? Create some joy. What does joy feel like to you? You've had joyful moments in the past. What would it be like to create one now? Even if you were just to create 1 second of joy, just a little bit more joy than a minute ago. In fact, let's do that real quick. Let's take a moment, close your eyes, think about a really joyful experience. It might be something that you got out of the workshop before this one. It might be some music that you've heard recently. It might be just the ability to be present with someone who you love, maybe you haven't seen in a while, but create some joy. Think about an experience in your life that brought joy to you and really create gratitude for it. Again, we go back to gratitude. Gratitude will help you, the practice of gratitude will help you create joy as well. Think about someone you love unconditionally. There's so many different ways for you to create joy in your life. It really just takes intention and practice. And again, I know that that's typically in many people, life can be stressful and overwhelming at times. And we spent so many years focused on the stress and focused on the anxiety. That becomes our physical habit. That becomes our way of thinking. That becomes our way of being. And so this does take practice to change things, to create joy, to create patience, to create presence out of nowhere. But the more you start to do it, the more it starts to happen by itself. And the more you start to understand and feel the presence of life. And the more you start to understand that now is a gift, and the more we start to feel that, your body will start to do it on its own. You'll start to create chemicals. Your brain will start to create chemicals. The more you practice joy and create joy in your life, the more your body will want to do it. As opposed to the habits that it's been, the habits that it's already created of creating stress and anxiety and chemicals that defend against that or try to, but instead, tense your whole body up. So create patience, create presence, create joy. And then the epilogue is keep going. Yeah. On your worst day and on your best day. These 2 words are some of the most important ones I've ever uttered. Keep going. Because it always gives you the opportunity to know that you are on purpose and that you are living your life on purpose. If you wake up tomorrow morning and say, keep going, and you have a tough day, and then you wake up the next day and say, keep going, you know what you're doing. In fact, the only way for you to get out of line with your purpose is to not keep going. You get to decide when you've stopped. There's no such thing as failure. There's lessons. There's opportunities for growth. But the only time we basically lose a race is when we stop, when we quit, when we give up. Doesn't mean that you can't be tired. It doesn't mean that you can't be stressed. It doesn't mean that you don't need to rest. Rest, please. Rest with the intention of creating joy and gratitude in your life so that you can live more on purpose and not need as much rest. So be patient, be present, be joyful. Keep going. Life is a miracle. Life is a gift. It's here for you. You get to decide who you want to be. You know what your gifts are, right? And when we don't keep going, we are belittling. Actually, we are doing those gifts a disservice. We're doing those we love a disservice who don't get to experience our gifts. Step into your greatness. We're all one. We're all a unique consciousness of the universe expressing itself in different ways. So own that. Be grateful for that. You are divine. You are magnificent. You're unlimited. And when we start to choose thoughts like this and create thoughts like this and step into our greatness every single day as a habit, as a way of being, as a way of reminding ourselves that we are a child of God, of the universe, that we are something that is amazing and there will never, ever be anything like us again. It is our responsibility to do with that what we can, as often as we can, and be the light that we want to see in the world for others so they can do the same. So be patient, be present, be joyful. Keep going. Recognize that you are a gift and live the life that you deserve so that others can see your example and decide to do the same. I don't know what the time is on this. I know we're supposed to keep it 20 minutes. I have no idea where I am in the 20-minute mark, so I'm going to start to wrap up and just say, if this is something that has served you, and I hope it has, feel free to go to ryanstanley.com. You can, if you want, you can download a free copy of my book. It's an ebook of it, ryanstanley.com/free-ebook. You can also order the book on that website. In fact, if you order it from ryanstanley.com, it'll come with a signed copy. And actually, depending on my availability, it could come with a complimentary coaching session as well. But if you prefer, if you spend a lot of time on Amazon or Barnes and Nobles and you prefer to get it from there, it is also available there wherever books are sold. Actually, I do like the physical copy because it's smaller. You can carry it with you wherever you go. There's a spot in the back for notes. So if you're interested in purchasing one, please do. This way you can carry it around with you and utilize it whenever. Real quick, I'll just point out that it's, you can read through it, but you can also open it. It's also literally made to where you can open any page and find something that will stand out to you. There are illustrations, there are highlights, there are bolds, there are quotes, all sorts of stuff that can serve you in your journey. I appreciate you. I appreciate Inclusion Fest. You know, one of the major themes of this whole concept, this whole thing that these ladies have put together is inclusive, and that's because we are all one and we're all together, and everybody deserves to be heard, and everybody is so unique and special, and we need to support each other and empower each other to be the best versions of themselves. And by doing that, we also bring out the best in ourselves. So I appreciate Inclusion Festival. I appreciate all of you for making time to listen to me today. I hope it served you as much as it served me, and I hope to cross paths sooner than later. Thanks for being you.